So, what if the path to a really fulfilling life wasn't about adding more stuff, but about changing the very system you're running on? Today, we're going to dive into a framework that's less like a self help guide and more like a brand new operating system for your life. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You've done everything right. I mean, you checked all the boxes, you hit the milestones, you followed the script you were given. But there's this quiet, nagging feeling that something's off. You're accomplished, sure, but you're also restless. And that's where that feeling comes from. From the moment we're old enough to understand, we're handed this invisible script. You know the one: study, get a good job, save up, retire. It's a blueprint for a good life. The only problem? It was written for someone else. We're winning a game we never actually chose to play. Well, there's actually a name for this feeling: the middle class trap. And it's so important to get this. It has nothing to do with your bank account. It's a psychological inheritance. It's that little voice in your head that whispers, play it safe. The one that convinces you that being comfortable is the same thing as making progress. It's like this cozy, comfortable cage that nobody ever really talks about. So, let's get real for a second. Does any of this hit home? Are you hitting these goals that look amazing on paper, but inside, they just feel hollow? Do you find yourself making decisions based on the fear of losing what you've got instead of the desire to really grow? Think about your core beliefs. Did you consciously choose them, or were they just kind of handed down to you? If that gap between the life you're currently living and the one that feels genuinely yours is getting bigger and harder to ignore, well, you know exactly what we're talking about. Look, the solution here isn't to just push harder. It's not about running faster on the same treadmill. Your effort isn't the problem. The whole system you're running on is the problem. It's time for an upgrade. And that new operating system? It's a framework called Seek, Seed, Grow. And listen, this isn't just some feel-good slogan you'd see on a poster. Think of it more like a map, a guide to how real, conscious growth actually works. It's about moving from that identity you inherited to one you build for yourself on purpose. The framework is actually super simple but really powerful. It's built on three core ideas. First, you seek. You finally see the invisible patterns that have been running your life on autopilot. Then you seed. You consciously plant new beliefs, new intentions. And finally, you grow. You live it. You embody those changes until they just become who you are. So you see, then you choose, then you become. All right, so let's break down that first stage, seek. It's called the Arjuna moment, named after the warrior who basically hits pause in the middle of a battlefield to get clear on what's really going on. That's what this is. It's that moment of awareness where you stop and you finally see the inherited beliefs and the normalized fears that have been shaping all your decisions. Because you can't change what you can't see. Okay, so after you seek, you seed. This is the Krishna moment. Krishna was the guide who offered wisdom to Arjuna, and that's what this stage is all about. Conscious intention. Once you see the old patterns, you get to choose new ones. You start planting new beliefs, new standards for yourself. Every single conscious thought is like planting a seed, and each of those seeds holds a potential future. This is where you start building a new identity. And that, of course, leads us to grow. The Buddha moment. This is where the rubber meets the road. It's all about embodiment. It's where all that new insight stops being just an idea in your head and becomes how you actually live your life, day in and day out. This is where the transformation isn't just a theory anymore. It's real. And this right here is maybe the most important takeaway of the whole thing. Real growth, true progress. It's not about chasing the next shiny object or climbing the next rung on the ladder. The journey this framework maps out is an internal one, the most vital step you can ever take. It isn't forward, it's inward. Look, at the end of the day, you don't need to have it all figured out to start. You just have to be willing to ask the questions. This framework is a map for that journey inward. The book is ready, so the only question left is, are you?